Oh, wait, I don't want to start the show like that. Alright. I am going to share this out, Edward, since we are live. If you want to take the reins, if you will, and just jibber jabber. That's us. You know, every time that sound happens, you know, you're giving it away that we're actually aliens. Yes, and they're letting us know the recent information we should be told down here on Earth. Jesus, you gotta mute those things. Shit, we're on the air. Fuck. Oh man.
Maybe we should hit up the professor so we can hide Canada.
I'll be Cam. What the fuck is I'll be Cam? What the hell are you even talking about? I'll be Cam. You only have one thing you need to do, Ed, while we're on the air, if you don't mind. That's go share this biznitch on the Skype. I'll share it everywhere else. Because people's... Yeah, so's Fecky. People's minds are going to be absolutely blown. Everyone's minds are going to be absolutely blown with what we're going to do here today.
Yeah, but before we go into all that...
Yes.
I'm going to address the elephant.
Yes. Ed and I each have an elephant we got to address. But we're going to go with the more severe one. That'll be on Ed's end. Oh, man. Alright. I will drop it on the CWN news desk on the boards as well. And I will send it out. Is it his safety? Holy shit. What even me? What? Yes, you shouldn't have heard it. You should have read it yourself by being active on the boards. Ask Lenny Love about activity on the boards. Thank you, Lenny Love, for whenever you hear this.
Lenny. Definitely appreciate all the stuff folks did. That was amazing.
I'm half tempted to read that bitch on here too.
And I want to shout out Dabby, who's on there. Thank him for kind of answering the questions for people for me. But I'll get into it a little bit more here in a minute. Years that he got fired. When you read it,
if he heard it. Yeah, I'm going to talk like Feck so he understands me. If he heard it, that means he didn't see it himself. Someone had to tell him. Which means he's not looking at the boards himself, which is actually disappointing.
Right. There's a slaughterhouse stuff. Well, now that he brought it up, I'm going to get into it. Alright.
Just about all done and shared. Alright.
Situation is...
Mass email sent.
He got fired. We've all been watching how he's been getting crazier posting, and I was being real lenient with him. I was letting him go, letting him have fun. And then he posted some of his stuff yesterday, and I was like, reached out to him, like, dude, really, with how everything is in the world today, we kind of watch what we do and don't do. And he come back in a personal message to me with some shit that I did not appreciate. I'm not going into it. Dougie knows he was right there when I read it to him. Dougie was pissed. And I reached back and said, dude, done cross the line, you're out. That's all there is to it.
Not yet.
I'm not going into it anymore because I'm going to get angry. He's just not worth my time. So that's where that is. That's what happened. I don't have time for people like that. Doesn't have time. Our roster doesn't have time for guys like that. And I know certain people, when he posted real life shit, was very not very receptive, so to speak, on what he was saying. I got it, I understood. No, I felt bad for him. I know he's going through some shit because of job, but to say what he said,
right?
Yeah, we're not having that.
And I do want to give them at least a little bit of information, if you don't mind. This way they get a better idea. Like Ed said, you don't want to get into everything Slaughterhouse said, but let's put it this way. It sounded completely out of character to me. And even if it wasn't, it still crossed the line. And it was in reference to Ed's wife and daughters. Let's just leave it at that. So, and then the fucking guy was ballsy. He left his address in his freaking inbox, which was priceless. So, just, I'm honestly surprised.
All I can say is WWE will see. He's lucky this is how many years ago.
Oh, it was out of control. Yeah, so we let him go. Simple. Done.
Gotta let little cyber warriors think they're tough. Leave their address like an execution.
That was just insane. Now my question is though, is it really his address or somebody else's? So that was funny. But I did look it up, I ain't gonna lie, when you told me it. Yeah. I wrote it down. It's a legit address. So I even went on Google Maps and dropped a little orange guy on the road so I could look at the house. And it does look like the house of someone who is a marriage counselor would live in, so I will say that.
I'm going to say this now because he pissed me off because he crossed that line. Now it's my turn.
Oh, God.
I'm going to cross the line now.
Settle down.
And then I'm going to say this. You piece of shit, and I hope you hear this. I hope that bitch causes you your job.
Ah!
I hope you lose every fucking thing now.
Okay. Why does Bonebreaker want to know if you're in the Grand Canyon? I'm confused.
I have no idea. No, I'm not. I am not in the Grand Canyon.
Oh, man. But I would now address my elephant in the room. And it's that guy on the screen. Right there, I just highlighted. Shigona. Oh, he's saying something about an echo. He sounds like an echo. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds clean on my end. Let me see how it sounds on the system.
Oh, he's saying something about an echo. He sounds like an echo. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, there is an echo. There is an echo coming from you on the feed. That's weird. Unplug your headset and plug it back in. It might help. So make sure you do the Callum thing and suck the prong. Did you do the Callum thing and suck the prong?
Yeah.
Unplug your headset.
Let's see what happens.
It might help. So make sure you do the Callum thing and suck the prong.
Let's see.
Did you do the Callum thing and suck the prong?
Yeah.
Unplug your headset.
Okay, there is an echo. That's weird. You've never had an echo before. Interesting.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Is it playing in the background? Maybe.
No, I got everything muted.
This is weird. Are you close to your cell phone?
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens with a cell phone. No. Ed's going to move the cell phone, ladies and gentlemen. If there's still an echo, let us know. If not, you're just going to have to listen to the Grand Canyon, as Bonebreaker's talking about. But
how's that?
Let's see.
Bonebreaker's talking about.
Let's see what we get here.
How's that?
It's still like it. Oh well. We'll just have to make do. He said it's better, but it's still there. Alright. Now, in regards to Shikona, here's what I want to mention to you guys. I ran the show. The match was Koji Yama against Max the Omega. And there was a run-in set up in the show by me deliberately for that match. Now, Koji Yama was going to be removed from the company going into the pay-per-view to begin with. So, the whole plan was to screw the character anyway. But with that being said, the leader of the cartel is Joey Falcone. So Joey Falcone was going to be the character to come out and do the attack on Koji Yama and help Max win. Because of the members of the cartel, he's been with Max and John Savage the most. So it would have made the perfect situation. Well, I've never deleted Shikona out of my system. Because, as you all know, the story with Shikona, it would have felt more real to me if I had deleted him out of the system. So I've kind of been avoiding that, and as you can see, he's still in my system. What I didn't do was remove him from my universe and the cartel stable. So I got one of your favorite glitches. Instead of Joey Falcone coming out and doing what he needed to do, I got Shakona. So if you go back and play the show, you hear my reaction, you know one of two things is happening. And that is, the glitch indeed happened, and I'm like, really, like, what? Or I did so good at my job and sold it as a, like, what? Either way, it worked. Well, it was the first part of that. I was stunned that it was him coming out. I was like, what the hell? So I kind of just ran with it the best I could. No, he was actually made by other World Effect and tweaked on our end with his permission. So if that's what you're talking about, then there you go. He's Hawk Hanna was his original name, Hawk Hanna. But in any case, so you got the Shakona situation. Not supposed to happen. I talked to my brother about it, and he basically said, do with it as I wish. We wrote Shakona off. It was a real life thing. I don't want to go in that field. So, sadly, even though it happened, we kind of have to pretend that it didn't happen. And just ignore that it happened at all, or just think, oh, wait, Joey did it. Whatever way you want to look at it. But Shakona is not in the company. He is gone. He's not a part of it. And I will be deleting him from my system when I go off the air here. So you guys know. I just can't handle it. And that's what we're going to do. Now, real quick, before Ed and I get into this 2K22 talk, because it's huge. And when I say it's huge, this might be the biggest drop of news we're going to bring you ever on this channel. So far, because chances are we'll end up having bigger news eventually one other day. I will give you guys this. I want to share this with you guys here. This is my show today. I am planning on going live shortly after we are done here. No sooner than 10, no later than 11. That is the plan. So somewhere in that 10 to 11 time frame. These are your matches. 6-man chamber match. Devin Brolski, Billy Tyson, Mauga! I got to do it that way because Dwayne loves it. Phoenix Hernandez, Buddy Blaze, and Austin Raiden. The next match, Vernon Quinn versus the KO King. KO King is on the verge of being fired, and I'm going to say right here on the air. Technically, I probably should already have fired him, I believe. But I'd have to double check. So, I'm not playing favorites with anybody. You know, Callum will fall under the same realms as anybody else. Same thing then would go for Jose Ortiz because they're both him. Then you got Maggie versus the camera lady. And then we've got John Savage and Max Omega taking on the tag team champions in a non-title match of Ethan Snow and Liam Winters. Then we got Bruiser Who, Thomas O'Connor, and Alex Starr in a triple threat steel cage match. So that should be fun. Then you got the 5-man Hell in a Cell, the Professor, Gangster, Powerhouse, Jose Ortiz, and Bone Breaker. What's going on, Shy Sox? Main event, non-title. Killian McCleary, the world's champion, will be taking on Thomas O'Sullivan, and he will have Curtis Cage in his corner, the former champion. Again, this is the card when I decide to go live here shortly after this press conference. So I'm going to back out of that, back to this main page. All right, Ed. To the main purpose of us doing this is...
Before we go over that, I plan on going live Thursday, Friday.
Ed plans on going live Thursday and Friday. I will also tell you this then. I may be live tomorrow too.
Yep.
We'll see.
And I'll say this, since we thank Lenny.
Mm-hmm.
Lenny is also Bobby Brooks. Please log in with Bobby too.
Feck said still know me. Feck, where should you be at on the show? Come on, let's negotiate. You're here. Tell me where you should be, Feck. Go ahead. I'm listening. Sell me on something. I'll add. Just sell me. Sell me, Feck. Nothing wrong with me having you sell me your guy. Why I should put you on the card somewhere. Where should you be? What match should you be added to? And don't tell me to click on it and show you again. Butthead. He said he should be GWA. Oh my god. What the fuck?
Okay. I'm going to say this.
I fucking love him. I can't help it.
Because his character and the person seem to be one and the same now.
There's no doubt about that.
Off the weed. Stop smoking it.
It's funny. Oh, back. You should be with Billy. Look at this. If I put you in that match, it's an elimination chamber. There's already 2 NWO guys in the match. I would have to remove somebody for you. You would have to be added to a match. Do I add you to Quinn and KO King? I mean, I could add you to this match, because you do have a vagina. I mean, there's Alex Dar. I really don't want to have 2 matches with 2 NWO guys in it. And there's another one you can't get in, and then here's the main event. So, quite frankly, I could do this one right here and make that a triple threat match and add you to it, and I'd have no problem with that. Are you willing to take on the KO King and Vernon Quinn, my young lad? If you are, I'll throw you in this match and make it a triple threat. I have no problem with that. But as we wait for his response, I do want to make this mention. He says, yes. All right, I'll edit it before I go on the air. All right, now, you got it. Signed, sealed, delivered. Now, before we mention the whole 2K22 thing, the whole company is on a 1-week thing now. I am going to take the time to read what Lenny Love said, because this needs to be seen. Yes. Good, Alex. Maybe me and Alex should play some UFC. If y'all didn't see my UFC feed, Alex knocked me the fuck out, the prick. But then I came back and knocked him the fuck out, so it was fun. Alex is pretty damn good at UFC, and I want to continue to play that game with him. So if any of you other ones have it, let me know, because Alex is looking to play some people too. I want to make a league out of it if possible. So step up, put your fucking fist in the air, and let's bang. You know, I mean, I'm going to pick on Ed right now. In UFC, people can fight back. Ed shoots defenseless animals who don't have a rifle. Right, Ed? What's it called? The Hunter? It's called the Hunter?
Yes.
If you guys have the Hunter, call the Wild, let Ed know. You can play with Ed. Defenseless animals with no rifles. Anyway,
That's
fucking hilarious. Oh shit! But to mention what Lenny Love said, I appreciated his comments, and I know a lot of you feel the way Lenny feels, but he posted it, and this is what he said. I briefly mentioned what I'm about to say on the breaking news Slaughterhouse was release thread. It's UFC 4 tech. All right, he goes. I feel all of us need to step up. Do all of us truly understand how awesome it is here? Ed and Doug give us UCW and GWA every week. More often than not, multiple shows, meaning these gentlemen put in a ton of work. Now, we've heard it before, or should have common sense to know what they do, but let's recap. 1, they book a show. 2, get the segments from us, the handlers. 3, run the show, which is live, not recorded, making it more personal. Update the rankings, which really makes this place amazing. I've been in 17 call promotions, which is absolutely outrageous there, Lenny. Yeah, 17, LOL, he says. Only one to do it is right here. 5, update all the material on the pro boards following events. For those of you who don't understand, that would be the rankings, title histories, and whatever else needs to be updated. Responding to our emails, texts, private messages, etc. I might be missing some things. Now, to our list as the handlers. What we, the handlers, should do. Lenny writes, 1, log into your Pro Boards account once a week. Then bold, big letters, once a week. He goes, that's it, folks. The transition to 2K22 is sure going to be crazy, because which call owners will have the game and when? Should we wait to move on to the new game just because some of us don't have the game, don't have the money, whatever the case? It's going to be a hectic time for them, yet outside of getting them our call for 2K, we still have one job: log in while they bust their ass. So, thank you, Lenny. That is true. That's all we ask of you guys. No, you don't need to be at the live shows. I have stopped even asking you guys to comment on videos. I don't ask you to tweet. I don't ask you to social media anything. Just log into the boards. Let us know you're still around paying attention to the company. Now, if you log in and you're interacting, you're more involved, I'm more involved with you in my head to give you a push. I'm not going to lie. So, with that being said, if some of you can't handle all the calls you got, I'm going to mention this one final time. Let me and Ed know, whichever show you're on, so we can eliminate some of the calls you have if you can't handle them. Because it's very important that we get rid of them now and write them off now before the change to 2K22. Because I don't want you or us having to create a call and then all of a sudden we're not keeping it. I'd rather be wrote off now, so when the transition happens, we can work that transition a lot smoother. Especially with the news that's coming down today. Big news. So, Ed, do you want to go and take this news, or do you want me to mention it?
I'll let you start, and then I'll chime in when I need to.
All right. I'm not sure how many years it's been, but Ed and I have been doing this wrestling thing. Since that's how we met. It was on G-Fed, which G-Fed was a spin-off of Geeksoft, which I was also a part of that. The boys are how old now?
14.
They're 14 years old, and when I started talking to Ed, I believe they were 2. So that's 12. Isn't that right? They were 2 years old? So they were 12 years old. I went through the drama with my wife, and my kids were 2 and 4, and I knew you before that ever happened. So they may have been 1. So yeah, they may have been 1. So we've been doing this 12, 13 years together, one form or another. E-Fedding. Those are people that were around on the Geeksoft and the G-Fed days, like Powerhouse, for example, or Chris Gibson when he was here, and he's already gone. They could tell you what it was like. Everybody started banding together, trying to kick everybody out. So Ed and I needed a partner. We went to each other, and we became the site's most hated because we were good. I will toot my own horn. We were the best. No ifs, ands, or buts about it on that site. Some people had better graphics. Some people had bigger writing teams, but they didn't have the time and effort put in like we did. So as far as I'm concerned, we were the best, and that made us hated. We always wanted to take our E-Fed and be able to do wrestling matches with the E-Fed. And we could never do it because we didn't have the technology available then, because this is regular PlayStation days, maybe even PlayStation 2. Now that technology is available to all of us, called Call Wrestling. Now, in all these years we've done Call Wrestling, Ed and I have done many promotions. GWA, ICW, that you guys most recently know, the Supreme Wrestling Federation, the American Wrestling Federation, among others, farm systems and other things. The one thing that's never taken place is UCW as a unit. Effective 2K22, GWA will close. When 2K22 starts with this channel, the GWA is closed and the rosters will merge. Anyone who remains on the GWA will join the UCW roster, and Ed and I will run UCW together as a unit. He will run a show, I will run a show. And then here's the best part. It's not like he's going, because his shows are Storm and Thunder. It's not like Ed gets Storm, I get Thunder. Nope. Whatever shows up in rotation, that's the show we run that day. So if Ed does Storm and then does Thunder before I can do something, so what? I'll get the next one in rotation. That's how it's going to work. He's going to run shows on his convenience. I'm going to run shows on my convenience. The main reason why we're doing this is to the boards. That's what's taking me back to what Lenny said. Activity is going to be important. Activity is key. I'm not playing no more with people who don't know how to take part and be involved and want to be involved. Some of you are here for everything. Every single time I go live or Ed goes live, I see Technically Perfect. I see Bonebreaker. I do see Feck, and then he flutters off and goes away and then comes back and doesn't know what the hell's happening. More often than not, I see Alex. I'm mentioning the people who are here right now. This is the way it goes. Now, for the people who come in once in a while, vanish, they'll still be welcome to stay as long as they're logging in the boards, but they're not getting the push. You guys are going to create your push. You guys are going to create your legacy with your involvement. Now, if you are involved heavily during a show, it's okay if you just log in on the boards and go away. If you can't make live shows, make up for that by being active on the boards. I think that makes sense. Would that make sense to you there, Ed?
Yes.
I'm not asking you to do both. I'm not really asking you to do either or. I'm just asking you to be around, which is kind of like an oxymoron statement, but I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. Another thing we wanted to do is we wanted to open up the doors to some matches we just can't have. I know for a fact if you're in this company and you're on one show, you have that dream of facing somebody on the other show. Well, now it can happen. Bonebreaker, for example, was talking to Ed on the boards about getting a new character to join his show. He wanted to be a part of his show. Well, now he's going to be a part of his show with Bonebreaker. Now we can see Bonebreaker take on whoever on Ed's show. We haven't been able to see that the whole time he's been a part of this company. It also opens up new alliances. It opens up new rivalries. It opens up the ability to add people to current stables. I mean, Ed, you have how many stables on your show? Like 4? something like that.
Something like that.
You know, and then over here on the GWA, we have our list of stables and whatnot, and it's hold on, what do you say? Is there still going to be another ace up the sleeve, or just drop to the one? We'll probably just have one briefcase. But yeah, I have the NWO, I have the FWE, we've got Crown Royalty, the Cartel, we've got Sergeant Enterprises, we've got 5 stables. That's going to be a lot of goddamn stables. We may be called Stable Championship Wrestling before it's all over. But we are going to take the champions and merge everything. Go ahead.
All right. And I'm going to say this. Mm-hmm. You hear this right now. You hear him talking. You hear me talking. We are going to do everything we can, and we are going to call the matches together.
Yes,
We're
that's the
going to
plan.
call the shows together. One guy will be the head guy calls it. The other guy's going to be the color comment. When we figure it out, it's going to give it another whole element.
Right. Now, let me see, Ed. Do you have the show up right now up on your stream on the computer?
Yeah, I'm watching.
What's the time on that on your screen?
I got
26 what?
26:10.
I am 26:19. Ed's on a 9-second delay. So if I'm calling the show, he's not going to see stuff that's happening on the screen until 9 seconds after I say it. So I will be the play-by-play. He'd be the colors, how that will work. He's not going to really be able to comment on the matches itself, as in the moves, but he can comment on the characters and what's going on and things that are going back and forth. Now, the only thing I've come up with, Ed, and this is not going to work, but I came up with it, is if you and I connected through our cell phones and we put the fucking cell phone up to watch the screen at the same time. That sounds insane. Now, if we can do share play, which we've tried to do, but I don't know how your internet's working anymore. It wasn't connecting right. So if Ed's internet's up to par, because he'll admit it was his, we're going to connect. We're going to connect and share play. It's the best you can get.
We're supposed to have the best the company has, but whatever.
Right. So we'll try that again for sure. If we can get share play to work, he should be seeing everything I'm seeing. I should be seeing everything he's seeing as it happens. Now,
the only thing is, I'm not sure if you can share play and live stream at the same time. That's the only thing I'm not.
I have no clue. I'm going to have to ask Twitch. I'll have to ask Kyle Young. Those guys used to do it all the time. Now, the reason I asked at the pay-per-view was thinking about crowning a new one. Okay.
I was talking about it, but when I booked the show, I didn't have enough guys to put in it. So we may have to wait until we move, and then we'll decide how to keep the Ace up the or the. Yeah.
All right, we got the Ace up the sleeve on Ed's show. We got the Golden Opportunity on my show. We're going to only have one briefcase. Now, here's my only thing. If Ed's got a show set up with a match set up to get the new briefcase holder, that should stay. That should stay. If John Savage has not used his opportunity before the merger, well, then they need to just battle for the briefcase. So John Savage's strategy would be probably, obviously, to try and cash in before the merger. To me, that makes sense. That's just me, my strategy. I don't want to take a match away because of a merger. I don't want to alter things because of a merger. Things need to be run as they were going to be run, and as smooth as they were going to be running, as smooth, regardless. Now, as I was saying, whoever Ed's World's Champion is will face my World's Champion. The U.S. versus the Intercontinental. We've already decided we want to go old school. The United States title's more old school. We're in the United States, so we're going to keep that title. The Intercontinental title is going away. We both have television titles, so guess what? We're going to have a television title. We've both got tag teams.
Okay. No.
Oh,
Understand this.
Oh my God, fact.
It's all going to be one thing. It's not going to be GWA, GWA. It's going to be UCW by itself. GWA is gone. Everybody's moving to UCW once we go to K122.
Right. And like I said, Ed and I have done GWA together. That's my baby. That's my creation. We've done it. We've never done Ed's baby together. That sounded really weird.
Yes. There you go. One big company, one big yes.
Yes, all one roster.
Try to run
One roster. That's just one roster, one thing. That's it. And it'll be under the UCW banner. We're still going to be called the Call Wrestling Network because I think that name's going to attract people to the site. But the Pro Boards is going to get fixed up a little bit, and I'm going to still leave it be called Call Wrestling Network. I'm going to leave it the CWN zone just in case you never know what's going to happen in the future. But I am going to take down the CWN logo and the colors and transform them into the UCW colors once the merger happens of going to one roster. Now, if you guys remember, when we were International Championship Wrestling, we were still two brands, if you will. We were two separate rosters. Then we broke apart and became GWA and UCW. It was no longer two separate brands. It was two separate companies. This is one company. Only the active are going to make it to the UCW roster at 2K22. Now, Dobby's made some questions. Other people have made some questions. And for those of you not sure what I mean by Dobby, that's Austin Wilde. That's Max Omega. That's Mauga. What have you. That being stated, they've all suggested when we should move to the game, when we shouldn't, what should happen, what shouldn't happen, this, that, and the other. For me personally, it's going to be this simple. Ed's getting the game right away. All things point to me being able to get the game actually now right away, so you guys know. It could happen, might not happen. We'll see. I have more information about that today. That's between me and someone else. But that being said, if we both get the game on the 8th, I'm going to start preparing everything on the 8th. There are certain people on my roster that ain't going to have the game, and I know that. Like Bonebreaker is one. He doesn't have the PlayStation with this game. I will be making him for him, so I need to get on that right away. Now, let's just say Bonebreaker had 4 characters. I need to know who needs to be kept and who doesn't need to be kept if he doesn't plan on keeping them all. But he's only got himself and Granny. So I have to remake both of them unless we write Granny off. That's something between me and Bonebreaker to discuss, between me and him, between now and the end of 2K20, what are we on, 19? 2K19, ending. And we were planning on staying on this till what, the end of the month? We were planning on staying on 2K19 until our end of our last pay-per-views. Yeah, so he's having until April, basically.
My name reference just a second, because Drew swears up and down on it. We're supposed to get it on the 8th. He's pre-ordered it. But he swears up and down he thinks we should start downloading on the 7th. So,
who knows?
So I will try to download it as fast as I can and get in there and check it out. Let everybody know.
Well, there you go, Alex. I love that. Alex got it for the PC, and because of the cross-platform, he should be able to upload his own guy. And speaking of making your calls, I'm going to mention this again on the air. Feck, you're the reason for this conversation, you little shit. Make your call, when you remake your call in 2K22, as close to the guy you've got. And I'm talking resemblance-wise. You can change his gear. I don't give a shit. You can change all that. But don't do what Feck did from 2K18 to 2K19. Go ahead, Ed. What were you going to say?
Can I go into it? We had a conversation about this.
That's fucking great.
You and I go, what the hell was he doing?
Yes, go. Go ahead.
He went from 5 foot nothing, light complected, dreads. He was, a Jamaican pimp. So the next thing we knew, he was dark. He was over 6 feet tall. The hair was gone. He had this, he had that. I'm like, what the? I get you can have tattoos, change the hair and all that. But you can't change their height and their skin color. That's not how that works.
Feck went from looking like D'Lo Brown skin tone wise to looking like Shelton Benjamin skin tone wise, which is insane. The hair, I'm okay with the hair change. Because the dreads and the blonde dreads, that's probably clearly would have been extensions. Pulling them out and having your basic black hair, I get that. That would have worked. Adding the tattoos, that would have worked. But I just want to know how a guy grows 6-8 inches and gains 70 pounds overnight.
He changed his skin color.
Changed his skin color. It was wild. Oh, it was wild. So... please don't do that stuff. Just try to make your guy as close to what you have now as possible. It's not going to be perfect, I'm sure, but as long as it's within the ballpark, everything should be good.
We're going to go to this one. Once people get the game and they start making their characters, and they send it, says, here, this is who it is, do not do what guys been doing all this time. Can you download this character? I had this, I did that. I'm not doing it. Nope. I will not do it.
Now, we do have currently in the point system, if you do that, and we do make the change, you lose 25 points. If Ed's not willing to do it, maybe I can sell him on doing it by making that even harder on you. Make it 50 points.
Because
let's put it to you this way, guys. A lot of you guys do the call thing, but you've never run a company. Those of you who are in here and run a company know what I'm about to say when it comes to altering a character. Here's what we got to do. The worst is when you guys make the loading screen the same. Okay, now let me show you what I mean. If I go into my creations here, and I just hit Edit Custom Superstar here. Now watch this. Whoa. Alright, I'm just going to let it load. I have no idea why the hell my thing went flying like that. I'm on, load them. Alright, now you guys see the loading screen for these guys. Alright, let's just take Vernon Quinn. Boom. Vernon's not going to have the game, I know that. I'm going to have to remake Vernon. But say Vernon remade himself right now and uploaded himself to the community creations, and he uses this exact same loading screen and still wearing the shirt. I don't know which one's the new one and which one isn't. So what I have to do is I have to delete the old one out of the system first. Then make sure I delete him out of the system. I got to go into my universe, remove him from the universe, delete him from my game, go into community creations, download him, then go back into my universe, re-upload him. If you were part of a tag team, part of a stable, part of anything, that now needs to be recreated, so I can add you back to it. There's a lot of steps other than just upload it and then we're good. No, there's a lot of steps. That's why when Ed makes a statement, I'm not doing it, there's so much work to it. There's a lot of work put into this to begin with, but holy shit.
And like I told him, when you make the slightest little change,
yes,
there's that damn good chance your character's gonna go shit.
Yeah. You got a 33% chance of staying the same. You got a 33% chance of being worse. And then you do have that 33% chance of being better. If your character sucks, you've got nothing to lose. If you're one of those guys that are on a roll, don't mess with it. So that's just it.
I can use Reggie West as an example. All we did was change his outfit. That's it. I didn't change anything else to him, but I changed his outfit.
Yep.
I copied his outfit from the one he had to the old one. And look at he's on like a 5-match losing streak.
And he was what, 8-9-0?
He was 9-0.
Made a change and yep.
I really didn't think just changing and just copying an outfit was going to do anything, but it did. I'm like, really?
It's insane. Absolutely insane.
This game is...
Wouldn't that be great, Vec? That'd be great if there was a fucking transfer button. Like EA Sports did the NCAA football transfer into Madden. I wish you could do that with this. Can you imagine that, Ed? If we could just transfer our roster over?
Right. And could we transfer stuff from one college game to the next?
I believe you could to continue your career or whatnot. So yeah,
it would be nice.
It'd be awesome. You know, I don't know how hard it is to install that type of thing, how much work it goes into doing that, but considering other games have done it, you think the technology's available. So that would be great. And you never know. Maybe it's in there. We just don't know it. I mean, they're showing us very little, in my opinion.
Right. And I'm going to go into this from what I've been reading and watching all over the place. There are no new match types from what I see. And from what everybody has been doing their research so far, there has been not one mention of any new match types for this new game coming up. Like, are you kidding me?
And the hype was there. They were adding new matches.
Right.
I hear people talking about that even as much as last week, going, I can't wait to see what the new match types are.
So,
but you would think we'd know by now.
And
when they dropped the entire roster the other day, I don't know how they're getting away with it.
Because of how many guys actually aren't on the roster?
I'm sorry, but if I'm all those guys that aren't on that roster, and I'm not getting paid for my life being in your game, I'm suing your ass. I am taking your ass to court, and you're going to pay. And there are so many people on that list that are no longer in that company. I'm like, Drew was reading the list. I mean, Keith Lee, Braun Strowman, and it goes on and on and on. The freaking iconics in this. I mean, holy shit. These people are all on other companies under contract somewhere else.
Depends on how the contracts are wrote up. That's the thing. Because they have to write contracts up with these individual characters to put them on here first. That's the way I know. So who knows how the contracts were wrote up. But, you know, to go over what Ed was saying there, for those of you who did not see it and or hear it, some of you have to help me. Some of these guys I know are not still in the company, so I will mention them. This is an alphabetical order. You got AJ Styles still there. Is Tozawa still in the company? I don't even know.
Yes. He's the next R-Truth. They use him for comment.
Oh, geez. Then you got Alexa Bliss. If I say a name that's not there, just say 1. And then 2, and we'll add them up. Alexander Wolf. Andre the Giant. Andre don't count because he's dead. He's under the Legends thing. Angel Garza. Angelo Dawkins. Apollo Crews. Daivari. Asuka. Austin Theory. Batista. Bailey. Becky Lynch. Beth Phoenix. Yeah, he's under a Legends contract. Yeah, he's a Legends contract. Beth Phoenix, Bianca Belair, Big Boss Man, Big E, Billy Kay. That's 3. Bobby Lashley, Booker T, Braun Strowman, 4. Bret Hart, Brock Lesnar, Cameron Grimes.
James already counted up for you. So there's 35 people.
Well, shit, there you go. He already did it. Thank you. I ain't gonna go through this because holy fuck, this is an actual long list. God dang. The one I'm not gonna lie that cracked me up the most was Jake the Snake Roberts. He's been in AEW for 2 years. So how the hell they work out a deal to keep him? And like, what the hell? And 35 of them are DLC. What?
No, they're not. They're in. No, the DLC I heard is coming out is you're going to get MSK, you're going to get Braun Breaker, you're going to get other guys.
Bad Bunny!
You might end up getting some from NXT UK because Wayner's going nuts because he wants Dragunov. He's always talking. He says they better put Dragunov in the freaking. I'm like, he's gonna be in the game.
Dragunov. Jesus.
Long live the Tsar, right, Wayner?
No. Oh man.
He's currently the NXT UK champion.
And I do love how the roster page is going to have Elias in his ring gear, and maybe even in the game, in the ring gear that was then shot down because he looked too much like Randy Savage.
Yes,
I don't know if you knew that part.
Yes.
Fucking
What I
hilarious.
saw, Walter is in the game as Walter.
Mm-hmm. Cesaro's in the game, and he just left.
Yes, Kamara. Carmelo Hayes is supposed to be in the DLC.
Yeah.
I did read that.
It's crazy. So, also, speaking, while we're talking about this and the downloadable content, this, that, and the other, I do want to let you guys know this. If you create your character with any of the downloadable content that me or Ed so happen not to buy, although you should be safe with Ed. He's getting the whole full-blown thing.
We got the NWO thing. I got everything.
I can guarantee you I won't be getting the whole thing. That I can tell you now.
I still don't. My mind's still blown over. My two sons talking letting them get that. We gotta have it. And then they say, well, why? And I love my boys because they went to, if we don't have it,
the Daddy and Doug can't run their company because they won't be able to have all the stuff. And they gotta have the stuff.
The stuff! Gotta have the stuff! UCW, we've got the stuff!
I freaking lost that. But she's like, what are we telling? Guys, get the everything and put pieces and parts on their character that I won't be able to use because I don't have whatever it is. And then she understood. She's fine, get it. And I'm like, okay.
You get the stuff. But like I said, case in point, if we don't get the full deal and you happen to get something that we can't get, then you understand I can't download or Ed couldn't download, but he's got you covered. So that's the other thing that's going to happen when the game gets up and running. When you guys upload your character, please set it to re-uploadable. But if you don't want other people having it, that's fine. We get that. Let us know when you're uploading it so we both have the time to go grab it. That would be great. This way we can both grab it. And the reason why I say make it re-uploadable is in case there is a small change you do want to make to your guy, we can do it for you. We ain't got to go through the whole upload process. Because if you ask me right now, hey, can you change my boots from red to blue? I don't mind doing that as opposed to re-uploading him and I'd have to go download him again. I'd rather do that myself. You know, not a big deal.
According to my calendar here, 6 days, 14 hours, 3 minutes, and 17 seconds.
16, 15, 14.
All every day.
Check the counter. Check the counter.
I don't have to check the counter. Drew's got it down.
Oh my lord, he probably has it on his own little phone or whatever he's got. He's a nut. For those of you who don't understand Drew, aka Keith James, for I don't know how many days in a row, it had to be 3 weeks straight. Anytime I spoke to Ed, every time I spoke to Ed, here is freaking Drew in the background. Doug, 2K22 this, 2K22 that, 2K22 this, something or another. And if I even slightly disagreed with it, I caught hell.
And then the other question. Are you 2K22?
Yes, every day. I think his record was 7 times asking me that in one conversation. It got to the point where Ed was like, all right, shut up. Oh my God!
Recap things for just a second, because Black Widow just got in. What did I miss?
Oh, he missed a lot. We're discussing the transfer to 2K22. Get your guys done ASAP when the game comes out, if you can. Some of you can't afford the game right away. Please find somebody who can get you moving, or we're gonna have to put you on the shelf just slightly. You have until basically probably April to get started. I don't know what the calendar looks like for March. I really didn't look at it, but Ed and I plan on both running our pay-per-views for the month of March on 2K19. Then we're going to make the move to 2K22, and the big news there, Mr. Hato, there will no longer be a GWA. GWA will officially close its doors, and its roster will be going to UCW, where Ed and I will run it together. And we plan on doing shows together as often as possible. Now, for those of you who did hear that earlier, it's not going to be able to happen every show, but we plan on doing it as often as possible. There will be days where Ed's going to go live at, say, 8:30 in the morning on a Monday, and my wife's off work. I can't do a show with him then. He might do a show 7:30 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning on a Friday. My wife's not here, but I just came home from work, and I'm too exhausted to do it. I won't be able to do the show with him. I have my show planned for 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He's got too much going on at home. Can't do it. The plan, though, is as often as possible. If we can get his family and my family to understand this is the 2 days we'd like to do our shows, get the fuck out. Okay, maybe not that. You know, you know, that would be great if we could do it that way.
So glad my wife not here.
But we're not going to tell them get the fuck out because, you know, happy wife, happy life. But that would be great if we could do that. It would be great if we could just say, hey, you know what? Every Thursday at 4 o'clock we'd like to do a show, and every Tuesday at 6 o'clock we'd like to do a show. I'm just using random times and dates here. Please get out of the way. You know, take the kids for a walk. Go get ice cream with them. Go sleep with your boyfriends. Whatever it is you do, stay out of our way.
And I'm going to say this.
We appreciate you guys thanking us, but we're also going to thank you guys.
Yes.
All you guys that are always involved and always here, because you make us want to do more. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm always trying to think of ways to do something for the company, because I'm never happy. I'm not gonna lie. Also, I have a challenge for the rest of you out there listening, those who catch the playback. We are working on some logos. New look for the company. We may keep the current logo. Don't worry, that may still happen. But we're working on some new logos. I want to challenge anyone who thinks they can put together a logo for us to please do it. I'm going to let the cat out the bag, Ed, if you don't mind, about the scheme. We are taking the blue of UCW and going to merge it with the green of the GWA. Not necessarily the green you see there on the screen, but green. We're going to merge the two colors together. I've worked on a couple different logos. I've actually taken the old NWA logo and covered it up and have it say UCW because it's old school, considering that. I've taken an eagle, and he's kind of holding a banner, and it says United Championship Wrestling, and the eagle is green and blue. And the main reason why I did that is because the UCW is awesome. As a graphic designer, challenge accepted. Well, alright, let's see what you can do, son. I'm going to be excited to see what he gives us. But that's the only thing I ask. Go with a blue and green scheme. Ed has already told me he's more in favor of a darker type blue. Not necessarily navy blue, right? But just a darker blue. Dark. And for me, with the green, any type of green that's with the current GWA look. The darker part, the lighter part, I don't give a shit. Any type of thing. Whatever looks better, because sometimes a certain color, green and blue, will be like, and other ways it might look sweet as hell. Does Ed want baby blue with my dark green? Would that look great? Who knows? Would his dark green look good with my dark blue? I said that backwards, but you get my point. Whatever looks great, I'm okay with. But go with a darker blue. And there we go. And like I said, I went with the eagle concept on the one because I was going to go with the whole concept that we're awesome. And not just awesome. Fuck you, Miz. We're awesome. I ain't no second-rate Miz here, are we, MJF? We were thinking about going completely away from the blue and the green and going gold. Because we're the gold platinum standard, or the gold platinum, the gold standard, because platinum didn't sound right. Change it up, but then stop changing belts and everything after this. And when we welcome iconic, yeah. Oh, we get you. We've had this conversation before. And unfortunately, the changes. And then this is going to sound like I'm pointing fingers and putting some blame, but it's also being honest. The main reason why we get changes the way we get changes is because of reflection of the roster. How big the roster is or isn't. The interaction between the roster and the lack thereof. The involvement and the lack thereof. If we have a big roster of a bunch of people, sometimes we need the space, and the best way to get that space is, quote-unquote, 2 brands or 2 shows. But right now, we don't have that. If I look over my roster and I look over Ed's roster, I think we got between 40 and 50 call characters that are really heavily involved. But when you go count how many people own those like 50 calls, it's less than half, if I'm not mistaken. Because we did the adding of it up yesterday, and we said, all right, let's take the champions on Ed's world title and my world title. That gave us 12 guys, because he had a champ and 5 contenders. So did I. Did the same thing with the United States. We each have 10 and a champion. So right there was 22 and the 12. Then we did it with the TV title, and I think we had 50 total guys when we were done, correct?
Yes.
So it was 50. Now, I will take WWW, for example. He's got, I think, between me and Ed's 2 shows, 5 or 6 guys. That already brings down the 50 to now 42, 43 characters if he was down to 1 guy. Thomas O'Connor's got, I want to, maybe 680. But you break all his down. So you bring his down, we're now in the high 30s, no question about it. So you keep breaking down the guys. Like Powerhouse, he's got something as simple as 2. But that now means 1 call owner for 2 call wrestlers. The overall amount of individual handlers is my key that I'm referring to, not the amount of wrestlers, but the handlers. And right now we don't have a whole handful of handlers, and I love it as long as everybody's involved and everybody's happy. Because I told Ed, if we break this down and we end up with 25 guys on the roster and everybody's active, we just hit the lottery. That's hitting the lottery more than 100 guys on the roster and nobody's around. You know.
Another example is the winner has Bruce Who on our show right now, and now he's got Hunter Hawkins because he's got rid of Chase Justice.
Yes. Yes.
Then Drew has Keith James on my show, and he's got Guns N' Dragons on your show. So
Right.
That's it.
And for those of you who didn't understand what Ed just said, the Midnight Freebirds are no more. He turned Hunter Hawkins into a singles wrestler, right?
Yes, he did.
And then Chase is gone. So right there's 2 with Dwayne, and Drew's got 3. That's 5 just between those 2 guys. So again, it's the amount of people to the amount of wrestlers to the size of the roster that we can have and how we make things run. And if we can take the group of guys we got now, the core of guys that we got right now, and then that means if you are somebody who listens to this show that's on the roster now, you're who I'm referring to. I don't care how important your character seems to be right now or not, how good your record is or not, if you're a champion or not. We want to keep the current core we've got completely. So obvious. I want to keep the core we've got completely, 100%. I don't want to lose anybody. Because I went over my roster the other day and I told Ed, I said, I really don't know who else I would want to get rid of now. It's been fixed. The only thing I would consider is guys who have multiple calls if they're willing to drop one. But it's like who? Like we talked about Thomas O'Sullivan, which is Greg. He's got Thomas O'Sullivan, John Savage, who am I forgetting here? Rick Sharp. Taking those 3, and he's also got Maggie. Well, I need Maggie in the women's division because we plan on keeping the women's division. We actually want to grow the women's division. I'm loving Rick Sharp more and more that you see him. The Hammer. Every time Ed says that, it's fucking hilarious. So you got that, and then you intertwine what else is going on with John Savage. He's at his highest peak for me as enjoying that call. And Thomas O'Sullivan's a staple. I would hate to see him get rid of any of them, but it's still his decision. You know, but if all 3 stay, good. If they all 3 leave, that sucks. But again, his call's his choice, and that's going to go for all of you. But again, if you can't log into the boards and be active, I'm asking you to drop your guys, because again, I can log into 10 accounts in under a minute if I really wanted to. And I'm looking at the boards right now, and I will mention guys who have not been on the boards, and they're expected to get on the boards here in the next day or so. They are wow, Bobby Bronx ain't been on since the 16th.
Yeah, but he was on the that's why I said it on the air.
Right.
Get on.
Doctor,
Send him a message because he wants to bring him back.
right.
Or wants me to choose one, but I'd rather have them both. But you gotta log in with both of them.
Right, then you got Dr. Nemesis, which is the 20th. He technically would be fired if he was on my show. Massive, the 21st. Blade, Branston, Austin Raiden, Sophie Blackheart, Alcatraz. These guys all that are in green, Raiden, Blackheart, and Alcatraz, I should have them all fired right now. They all should be fired right now. But I'm not a dick. I'm mentioning it now because I'm trying to hang on to our roster that we've got till the move. They basically are going to get to the end of the day, those 3 characters. KO King, which is Callum, and Jose Ortiz, he was last logged in on the 22nd. That means he'd have until the end of the day as well. That's going to happen. I will message Callum and be nice. You have until the end of the day. That's 5 guys I may fire by the end of the day. Then Eddie Santana. Wow.
That would be nice.
I'm aware. But I'm the dickhead of the 2 of us. That's a long story. We'll get into that another day.
I posted it on here. I'm tired of holding people's hands, and you can ask my sons.
Right.
I told them if they're not going to be on the boards, because I got to help Dwayne because of his situation.
Mm-hmm.
But
They're responsible.
Drew took his character. I got a dad. He's been long time. I told him if I got to do everything. I said, I won't have a problem firing and get rid of you. I don't care.
And I'll touch on that more. What Ed was just saying with his boys, Drew handles his shit on his own. Ed does nothing to it. Ed will not log on and help him with Bruiser Who or any of his other calls unless Dwayne says, Dad, we have to do it. He'll let it sit there till he opens his mouth. So, but moving on with them. But moving on with these guys, Eddie Santana, Dutch McCoy, Felix Hernandez, Eric Von Sice, they're all within the week frame right now. They're all right there.
Well, Dutch gets a pass.
Yeah, Dutch gets a pass, but he was actually on the 22nd.
Yeah,
He stepped in for a minute.
He was letting us know he's still not ready.
Yep.
I'm not going to follow him after. No way.
Right. And I'm not worried about the people who aren't on the roster like Royo Solomon, Leon Carter, Adrian Shawn, or Lucius. They're not on the roster.
Those guys, I think you could just delete off of the thing and say, stop. We fired your ass. Stop getting on here.
Well, I know when Royo left, he was hoping to come back once 2K22 dropped. We'll see. So there's a spoiler for you.
I'm talking to your other two you mentioned.
All Lucius's two guys.
Yeah, you didn't want to be here when you were here. Why do you want to be here now?
Yeah, I don't know.
And if you think if you're on here, we're gonna change our mind. Oh, maybe we should bring it back. No, not gonna happen.
But just so I can wrap this whole show up, because this way I can get my show started within the hour. Just look for the alert. If you haven't been getting the alerts, unsubscribe, resubscribe, click the bell. It should help, because I plan on going live before 11. The show's already booked. I just need to do a couple things around the house. Throw the wash and dryer, grab a drink, make sure I didn't have no dishes to freaking do. And I want to get on and off the air before 1:30, because that's around the time my wife's going to walk in the freaking door. So if I end up going on silent during the show, you know why. It depends on how late I get started. But if I can drop the show by 11, I have 2 hours to get it done until she should be walking out the door at work. But that's all you need to do. Log in. Make sure you're active on the boards if you want to be as your push. I've been mentioning the push factor to Ed for I don't know how long. And the push factor is simple. The more you push yourself, the more we're going to use you in bigger spotlight matches. But I don't want to do that at the same time because not everybody can be active when we're active. That's why the boards were created, so you can be active on your time. Because if we only do it based off live shows, that's unfair. This gives everybody a fair playing field.
Right.
There's your fair playing field. Go take it.
I'll say this. As far as the live shows go, we did tell them how to be there. But then we went to the... If you've watched the replay, please watch it, and then post a comment. We know you're there. Nobody did that. So we spitballed and said, you know what? Time to go to the pro boards. I said, yeah, I think you're right. That's why we created, so people can get on there, you can see here.
Right.
Who's not, who wants to be, who doesn't want to be. I mean, it's real simple. You can't take 2 seconds to log in once a week. Should you be here?
No.
Should we want you here?
Nope.
I mean, I'm going to throw this one out to people too, because this one's got me very frustrated.
Let's go on, Callum.
And that is, why the hell does everybody leave in the main event?
Yeah, that happens.
Every damn show.
It's crazy.
Like, I'm sorry, but if my guy's in the main event and everybody leaves, that's a slap in the face to my character because you're just like, he ain't worth it. If you can't stay for the whole show and you're gonna bounce, just say sorry, I gotta go. And then, but don't just up and leave. And that pisses me off.
Callum's agreeing with you. Yes.
I mean, Callum knows how many times when he was helping it.
Now,
Every day. Your show, my show, his show. What the hell?
Now, to touch on what Ed just said, I've also run this idea by him, and I've made this statement. I wonder if sometimes our shows run too long to where people are watching a show and they just can't stay around so long, and they have to leave. That's why, with 2K22, if it's possible, I'm going to try and make shows last about an hour. like old school Saturday mornings. For those of you who are too young, you didn't have this experience, I'm sorry, but it was great. You go to bed Friday after school, you come home, you did your chores, you did your homework, you ate your dinner, you played with your toys, you went to bed, and you couldn't wait to wake up because wrestling came on at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and there was more than one show. And then that night at 6:05, oh, mothership! Oh, it's a whole different story now. you had wrestling again. It was an hour.
What was really cool about that? But some will think, oh, that's just dumb. But at the same time, it's cool. You would watch a show on one cable channel, and then you would get the channel out of a different. You know, so like I would get like a Chicago station would show something, and the New York station would show something later, or vice versa. But it's the same show. So it's like, yes, you got to definitely see it and go, how did I miss this on the first time I watched it? And
yeah. But yeah, there was usually 2 WWF shows. It was WWF then in the morning. They changed their names from time to time. Superstars, it was Challenge, and whatever else. And then you've got TBS. It was just WCW Power Hour and whatever other names they came up with. That was at 6:05. And then you ended up eventually getting Prime Time. I believe that started at Monday when it was Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon sitting in the studio, and they went and did flashbacks of matches. Sometimes those matches you just watched over the weekend. That was on for 2 hours.
Prime Time was on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it was on for 2 hours. That was the only 2-hour wrestling show in existence then. And that's why I wonder, is it too much? Because let's put it this way. For those of you who are just popping in or didn't hear everything, when we go to 2K22, I'm closing the GWA. I'm joining Ed in UCW. I'm moving my roster to his roster. He's doing a show. I'm doing a show. With the size roster we've got, it may need 3 or 4 shows. So if we're doing 3 or 4 shows, and each show runs an hour and a half, that's 6 hours of call wrestling you need to watch just with our channel. And I know some of you are in multiple call companies. Like, I'm going to take our buddy Curtis Cage. I forget what he said he was in, but holy hell, I don't know how he does it. And he even admitted he watches sometimes 18 hours worth of call wrestling in a day. I don't know how he does it. That's crazy. But that's always been my thought. Is that why people disappeared by the end of the show? Because we've been on the air for so long? Like Ed did his Judgment Day pay-per-view just the other day. His best turnout in a long time. So thank you guys for tuning into that. It went 2 hours and 20 minutes. Yes, Callum, you heard me. Ed did a 2-hour plus long show. And when it got near the end, you could see the numbers start to dwindle. And they got down. And then when it got into the pay-per-view time, I think he was down to like 3 people. And it was like, holy shit. But he had 114 views. Yeah, might regret it, but fuck it. That's what everybody's saying right now. I might regret it, but fuck it.
We already got it. Pre-order, Cal. Boys talking about the NWO.
But with what I'm saying, that could in my man's shoes. Hell, I've done several 2-hour shows too recently. It's insane. But okay. I'm wondering if that's the issue.
But I'm going to go to this one. You know my argument.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I've been telling Doug for a long time. Every time you start bringing this up. Maybe we're going too long. But yet they'll sit and watch a 3-hour shitty Raw show and talk about everything that happened. Or they'll sit there and watch 2 hours of AEW and talk about everything that happened. Or they'll sit there and watch something from New Japan that's on 2 o'clock in the morning.
2 o'clock! 2 o'clock!
What the hell?
And I told you.
Sorry, I don't believe that bullshit.
And here's what I told Ed. That's real. And I guess it's a little easier for people to watch real shit than what we do, even though that real shit is horrible.
Even though our shit we do, and I'm not going to my own horn, I'm going to say two WT. Our shit's 10 times better than anything we do right now.
And we're limited. That's the thing I always say. We're limited. But I will mention this. Like I said, Ed's probably going to try and do 2 shows. I would love to try and do 2 shows. If we did 2 shows each, let's say that's plausible, and we each did an hour show, that's 4 hours off our channel. But if each show's 2 hours, now that's 8 hours. Or if they're hour and a half shows, we're around the 6-hour mark. I don't know if you guys would rather see 2 long shows or 4 smaller shows, as an example. Because if you guys want to see like a 2-hour show, I'll put on a 2-hour show if that's what you'd prefer. But I'm not doing it twice a week. But if you'd like to see 2 smaller shows, I can do that, because I don't know how many matches we can book in this game. I've not seen that anywhere either. Because I know it was 7 on this one, and then on 20, I believe it was 9. I don't know what you can do in this one.
9 in a regular show, and then you can book up 14 on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, see, I don't know what the hell we can do on 2K22. I haven't seen it anywhere. But yeah.
I have to jump here now. I have to get Wayne dressed.
Yes, Cake and Isabel to work. Like I said, I'm going to do the few things I need to do, and then I will be live with Worldwide Episode 12. And I showed you guys the card. Feck, I will add you to the Vernon Quinn KO King match. And again, check the boards as soon as you close this window, people, and make sure you're not going to get fired. Callum, you're on the list. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna let him know he's here. I'm gonna tell him he's gonna get fired tomorrow if you don't fucking log in. I know Ed's done holding hands. I am trying to keep this roster together until 2K22 drops. 122 drops, don't touch me no more. No hand holding. It's done. I'm just trying to keep everybody. Damn, Jericho.
I won't have to worry about it. He said, Bo Breaker says I'm going to get the live promo thing.
I got it.
Let it. We're going to be together. They can send it to you.
Right.
I know you can get it.
Now, I know his point is if there's a show I can't be a part of, hopefully you can get it figured out. I also get the issue sometimes where it just seems to load and don't want to play. But yeah, it happens. But like I said, with me, if it loads and loads, I stop it, I close the window, I reopen it, and then it plays. I don't know if that'll work for you. Maybe you try that. I don't know. But Black Hato's taking on the challenge of making a UCW logo for us. Blue and green, he knows. Now I'm going to challenge the rest of you. Find us a place where we can possibly upload audio clips for each other to play. That might work as well.
It also Wilds to work this last show.
Hint, ladies and gentlemen, hint. Live promos always work well. Maybe you and Ed can figure that out. All Powerhouse promos are live, ladies and gentlemen. I call him on the phone and he cuts them live. They're not pre-recorded. So, but all right. Ed's got to go. I'm going to go. I will be live before 11 or no later than 11. Let's put it that way. With Worldwide 12, we've got 7 big-ass matches. It's going to be an out-of-control show. Joey Falcone's still in the hospital. Shakona never showed up. I broke that elephant down. Slaughterhouse is fired. The tag team champions got fired on Ed's show. All hell's breaking loose. But
Chase Justice is gone. Midnight Freebirds no longer a tag team. Cody Church has tired of the freaking concussions. I lost technically purpose as a tag team. They're going their separate ways.
Purity Express.
Everything's going to hell.
So it's going to be fun. Again, if you have more than one call, really consider who you want to keep and don't want to keep. If you want to drop anybody at all, doesn't mean you have to. Make that decision now. As soon as you can, please, so we know what we're doing ahead of time. All right, y'all. I'm ending this. I love every one of you. See you within 30 minutes or less. Later.